Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of Croom Talk. Today I am here with Mr. Buffalo Soldier, Nate Burnard.
Come on.
How's it going, man?
Good, man. I appreciate you having me here.
How's the little, I guess, off season, maybe you can call it, Ben?
It's good. Can't complain. I think more often than not, just training a lot.
Yeah.
And then just trying to stay busy as much as I can.
Before we kind of just obviously get into the brunt of everything, where are you from? Obviously, you're from here?
I'm from here, or originally I'm from Mississippi.
Okay.
Moved here about, I moved here back in like 2008. And I mean, this is what I call home now.
So, is it true when they say nothing's better than the east side of the Mississippi, or is that just?
Yeah, no. It's
Yeah?
true.
Yeah?
Nothing's better. This is home.
Okay. So, what? Obviously, did you come up here because of family?
So my father, he used to work for Utah State Aggies, and so he's originally from Utah. And then we were living there for some time. I was born in Mississippi. We were living in Utah for some time. And then he went on like a 6-month stint and went to Germany. So he was actually with the Frankfurt Galaxy when they had NFL Europe, when that was still a thing. And from being there, he was able to get in contact with Fred Jackson. Fred Jackson also was on the same team. And so before we got to the Bills, they became friends and kind of hooked up. And so, boom, he put a word in for my pops, and he came over here for working at the Bills as a video director. So he's been here for like 16 years, and then just recently, as of last year, he left and went to Green Bay for the head position of video director.
That's dope. And you just kind of, this is home base already? You're locked in?
Yeah, I'm already locked in. So this is my spot. The whole family's all scattered across the country. So this is where I call roots.
Did you go
now.
to school here?
Yeah, I went to Orchard Park.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Did you go to college?
Yeah, I went to Southwest Oklahoma State University. So
Okay. How long did you go for?
I was there for about 2 years, did JUCO at ECC, and then went over there to Oklahoma. So finished the rest of the 2 years there.
Were the aspirations football the whole time?
Aspirations always was football. Did a pro day over there in Oklahoma. And God has a different destiny for me.
Mm-hmm.
So, I found myself back here, and then, just been working and then picked up PowerSlap.
What position were you pursuing?
Mine was defensive end.
Okay.
So outside linebacker, defensive end. I played 3 tech as well there, and I mean my weight would fluctuate. They'd tell me some games, okay, you need to be 260. Some games, all right, you need to balloon up to 290. So
Yeah.
it'd be, hand in hand.
Yeah. And you were also Bill security.
Yeah.
Do you remember meeting me?
I do.
When my boy rented the thing, and we were
Right.
talking about protein bars.
Yeah.
For 30 minutes.
Yeah.
You're obviously not doing that anymore.
No,
are you?
still am.
Okay.
Still am. So
Is it just the kind of that stuff? You're not doing game day stuff?
No, just kind of that stuff. And moreover, I work during the week, and so pretty much it's just overwatch of the stadium, and I'm within the facility itself too. So it's all pretty. It's pretty fair. I mean, I enjoy it. I mean, I always try to kind of stay busy, and so having at least doing something like that, I mean, it keeps me busy throughout the week when I'm not power slapping or doing anything else.
Is that all you do?
No, I do that, and then I also work downtown. I do security as well. And then right now I'm in the process. I'm just waiting for a call back for the Border Patrol.
Okay.
So
you kind of got a lot of doors kind of ready to be open. You kind of have to. I feel like a lot of people are so focused and set one-dimensionally, and when that doesn't happen, it's just a domino effect of damn, I should have did this.
Yeah.
But it's just it's good to keep your feet in the water for every option.
Most definitely. I mean, too many people feel like once they are rooted in one spot, they just have to stay. And for me, I'm just no, I always got to keep working. There's some guys with PowerSlap too that they just straight quit their jobs completely. And for me, I can't do that. One, I like money, and two, I like to work. I don't like to stay idle. So continually building and working and finding different revenues of income, that's my way.
Do you feel like the income is the value as opposed to the job? Because applying for like Border Patrol, I'm not saying that's not something you're passionate about.
Sure.
But I'm just saying, obviously, it's like a good job that's going to make sure you're taken care of. Is that what the value is?
I think more than not, I think it's just the longevity of like what I want to do for my family, and what I want to make sure that like we're sound and secure no matter what. So, I mean, you know, people can say money's money. I definitely won't. Like go to like some random job and like just like make some cash, but like at the same time, I'm out in my mind. I'm thinking, I'm like, okay, this is my goal that I've written down. Okay, what am I gonna do to acquire that goal? So, kind of in that sense.
Is that a big thing for you, like goal setting?
Yeah.
Like, so like walk me through your process. Like, are you like a New Year's resolution kind of guy?
Not really.
Yeah.
I more so than not. When I think of like New Year's resolution, you see all the people at the gym. You know, it's the first 2 weeks that the gym is full, and then after that, boom, people fall off. My goals are always year round things, and so I always try to. In my journal, I have 5 main goals, and then I have little small goals to get to those goals. And so, as soon as I acquire one of those small goals, then, you know, I can jot that down. And I feel like I'm still progressing towards what I'm going to do. Because if I have that main goal, you don't really know what are the steps to get there. And so for me, I like to, I don't know, I just kind of like to write things down. I like to be really, you know, nitpicky about it just so I can acquire what I want.
Yeah, I feel like that's the easy way to kind of set things in stone for yourself too. Instead of like, well, I thought about doing this. Like, no, I like try to like kind of speaking it into existence more or less. Yeah. Now that's a very good habit that I feel like a lot of people lack. A lot of people just kind of talk.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm gonna do this, and then you know there's no
and then it never happens
either.
Yeah.
Now the gym thing is always a thing. You see it all the time.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I'm gonna get it right. And it's like, or just stay right.
Or just stay right. I mean, you know, you stay ready so you don't have to get ready. So, I mean, I feel like that's that too, because I'll be in the gym, and with New Year's, I mean, kudos to everyone that wants to work on their own well-being and you know, get sound and be healthy. But at the same time, you know, folk really need to. They're only there for that 2 weeks span when it comes to a new year, and then after that, it goes shallow again. So it's just, I don't know.
Are you really big into like the working out space?
Huge.
I feel like the thing is where there's no longevity to it is people crash diet. People just try to cold turkey on December 31st, and they're just like, yeah, like, oh, I'm losing weight, but then when they're at 2 weeks, and you're like, man, I just want to have one thing. Then it's just one thing becomes 2 things, and it's over.
Yeah, I feel especially too like with PowerSlap now. The mindset with it is they put you in such a different regimen, and you wouldn't think so because you're just slapping someone in the face, but they put you in a regimen of you have to be, everyone's lined up in different weight classes as they are in the UFC. And so if you're above weight and you don't shed that weight, that will hurt you in the long run, not only just for a fight that you're going to have, but also too, you know, you give up 20% of your purse. And so that has now made me more so back to the college mindset of being like, okay, this is the weight that I need to be. Just like how my coaches, you would say, hey, I need you to be at this weight. You need to stay at that weight. It's the same thing. I need to stay at this weight because if I don't, it's going to affect me in the long run. Yeah.
So we'll kind of not necessarily backtrack. We've been talking about PowerSlap the whole time, but like,
Sure.
when did that like kind of fall on your lap? When were you like, you know, maybe let me just go slap someone in the face and see what we can make this of? So
I'm at my house, and my father, when he was still living here at the time, he called me and he said, hey, you want to come over for dinner? I said, no problem. So I go over there for dinner, and as our family, we're very tight knit, so we like to watch movies sometimes when we eat, and we would just joke and laugh. And so my sister, when she was still living here, she was just scrolling on YouTube, and then she saw PowerSlap, people slapping, and this was the very early stages of it. And so she showed me, and she started laughing. And so we were all joking around, and my pops, he's like, you should do it. I'm like, nah. He's like, no, for real, you should do it. I think you would be good. And so I'm like, I just pushed it aside. I'm like, nah, I'm not doing that. And then later on that week, for some reason, he found he was able to find an application for it. He's like, yo, try it. he really wanted me to see me do it. So I signed up, you know, for giggles. And then, you know, the very next day they sent me an email, and they said, hey, we need your height, weight, body image. We need fighting experience, yada, yada. I went ahead, put that in there, and then ghost 2 months straight. And then I'm at the gym, minding my business. I get a phone call. I normally don't answer numbers I don't know, but I answered it. And then it was Erica, the talent manager, and she's like, hey, what are you doing? And then she's like, what are you doing July 4th? I'm like, nothing. She's like, all right, we want you to debut. I'm like, okay, this is happening.
Yeah.
So, you know, it kind of just fell that way.
That's nutty. But I mean, so like working like in that aspect, is it like you're contracted by yourself? Like, do you have to take care of your own expenses, or like did they like fly you out?
So that's what I initially thought. So she said, what are you doing July 4th? I said, nothing. She's like, okay, we want you to come down to debut. I said, okay, just let me know all the dates so I can get my ticket and everything. And she's like, no, you don't have to worry about that. She's like, we're going to have the UFC travel team talk to you and they'll hook you up. So all flights, hotel, all the expenses are paid for. As soon as you get there, they get you a per diem check, and I mean, hotels, everything paid for, and it was a blessing. Like I was completely and utterly shocked, and I was super grateful. So it's like
before you even slap somebody, you're like,
before I even slap someone, I get off the plane, and there's a gentleman wearing a tuxedo. He's got my name on an iPad, Nate Burnard, UFC. I went with him. He's like, hey, I'll take your bags. I'm just like, no, it's okay. I got it. He's like, no, I'll take them.
Yeah.
So he took the bag. We go out to the lot, and then there's a SUV, smoked out black SUV, bulletproof windows, pulled up, puts it in the trunk. I sit in there. There's waters and everything for me, little snacks. I'm just like, oh, snap.
Yeah.
I'm like, this is what it's like. And then as soon as that, boom, we drive. I didn't know where we were going.
Yeah.
I end up going to the UFC Apex Arena, and then, I mean, you're seeing guys like fighters walk around. Kamaru Usman, Daniel Cormier. You're seeing Forrest Griffin, like Robert Whitaker. These guys are just walking around saying, hey, how you doing? I'm just like these guys are not just statewide known, worldly known. So it was definitely a shock.
Are you a big UFC guy?
I've always watched it, but I've never been like that into it.
Do you feel like you've gotten more into it now that you're kind of on the same side of it?
100%.
That's sick. Yeah. So did you get to meet Dana?
Yeah.
That was cool.
So I actually met him my second match, and he came up to me after I won, and he said, "Hey Nate, put on a hell of a performance. I just want to let you know, Josh Allen and Dalton Kincaid just called me, and they said congratulations." He's like, can't wait to see you on the next one. So I guess Dalton Kincaid and Dana White's son, they grew up together. And so they're pretty tight-knit. But even just meeting the man that, made it all, I mean, that was huge.
Yeah. Now, see, I got to meet Dana, I think it was the 28th of June, because we were in Vegas, and they had PowerSlap there, and when all the influencers and stuff were out there. I mean, we're at the Fontainebleau, and you're just like literally walking around. You just see everybody. You just see online. You're like, and it was just nuts.
It was insane.
Yeah, absolutely. And then they're in this small room just betting millions of dollars for like 5 minutes. You're like, okay.
Oh, the night after was crazy. I mean, I'm telling you, like, they go straight to the Red Rock, and you're seeing influencers, fighters, Dana around their own blackjack table, PowerSlap blackjack table. These guys are throwing out thousands. I'm seeing Dana White go ahead, put down $250,000, lose it, and then no sweat, boom, puts down another $250, wins it, and then keeps going all the way to $750, and then called it. I'm just like, this is nuts. I'm like, these guys are just throwing it around like it's nothing, bro.
Do you feel like the process of becoming, I guess you would say, a competitor in PowerSlap is now getting like super, super high in demand? Do you feel like maybe that's why it took so long for them to call you back? Because everybody's probably like, oh, whatever, and they're trying to, like, what do you feel like you put on your application that they were like, oh, let's reach out to this guy that separated you from other people?
I think what it was, because when I first signed up, it was in the very early stages of PowerSlap. It was like phase 1 of it. So you had guys that look like they're just straight off the couch. Maybe they had fighting background, but they don't look the part. And when I showed up, I think it was me sending a picture, just of my full body composition and everything. And when I showed up, they're just like, "Oh wow, he's pretty tall, he's pretty built in person, And I look like an athlete. And there's a lot of guys there that really didn't look like that. They either look like they're from the bar or junkies or whatever. And so that kind of straight up, just elevated the process of it. And now there's more so of a high demand just because of, now I wouldn't say for me, but just because of what they've been doing and how it's being promoted and everything, it is huge. And so I think a lot of people now are trying to get in, and they're doing a lot more background work and trying to figure out, okay, is this guy the right candidate? Is this one, So I think it was more so of just like looking the part.
Do you feel like there's a lot of longevity in the sport?
I think so. Mm-hmm. I think so. I mean, when I signed up, I did it, for shits and giggles, and I didn't think anything of it until, I see how popular it's getting. I mean, you can be on TikTok, on Instagram, and you'll just see different reels mm-hmm. about it and stuff, and and they're the viewers, the attention it's getting on social media is nuts. Yeah. And so, and Dana's a smart man. Mm-hmm. I mean, even talking to him just for that little bit of while, and then just hearing him, through his interviews and everything, he's got a mindset where he does not want to fail.
Yeah.
And he's making sure that he's going to prove all the haters wrong.
I feel like one thing he stands by is viewership too.
Yeah.
Which is obviously, whether you're into the sport or not, people are going to watch it because it's just fucking, it's just nuts.
That's right.
So it's like, you probably even 70% of the audience probably doesn't even know who's fighting, but they just know someone's going to probably get knocked out.
That's it. Yeah.
And that's the check always going to clear on that part.
It's the quickest thing ever. Like, I mean, think of a normal boxing match or UFC fight. I'm like, it's very unpredictable. You don't know, but PowerSlap is almost a guaranteed, like, either someone's getting knocked out, but no matter what, someone's going to get slapped. And then that's what people want to see, because just like, how you can just going to let a grown man slap you in the face,
Yeah. So like, how is, like, is there training for it? Like, is there you have to like work on doing this and this to like prepare to like literally slap somebody, as well as like the defense side? Like, what is like that going into like preparing yourself to get slapped?
So initially, I didn't think that there would be training. Like, when I first started, I'm just like, okay, I'm just going to go. So I didn't know what to do. And so I called my buddies up. I'm just like, hey, I'm starting this thing called PowerSlap. I'm sure you've seen it. They're just like, okay, yeah, I've seen a little bit. I'm just like, I'm gonna pull up to your house. I need you to slap me. They said, what? Yeah, I need you to slap me. So I show up to my buddy's house, have a mouth guard in, and then both of them cracked me in the face. We did it a few times, and so I'm like, okay, all right, fine. But that was probably the wrong way. That was very amateur of me. So now it's been a lot of neck training, a lot of back training, a lot of Russian twists, to get the torque. Use a heavy bag or a speed bag just to slap it, get the power, and then I've got this thing called the Jazzercise. Shout out to Jazzercise. You go ahead and it's like this rubber ball, and you just chew it, and it just helps toughen up the chin a little bit.
Yeah.
So, I mean, things like that, I see it's helped.
Yeah. Like, when you first got there, you were kind of just on your own. They're pretty much like, hey, you got to make sure your feet are like this. Like, was that like taught pre-hand, or was it like you're on the platform ready to go, and they're like, hey, just you got to do this and this? They're very like, they watch out for us, and so the whole week when you're there, you're doing interviews, you're doing TikToks, you're doing whatever, and the day before the fight, you have your weigh-ins, and so after weigh-ins, they give you rehydration kits, and then after that, they have a referee meeting, and so they have the officials meeting. They show up and they explain the rules again. Every single time that I've gone, they explain the rules again and again and again, just to make sure that everyone knows, and so they make sure things are pretty sound. I mean, when it comes to the striker, you have to make sure you slap someone
above the chin and below the temple, so right in the sweet spot here. And then you can't flinch. They go back to the same rule, 2 for flinching. If you slap above or below on the neck, that's considered a club. And so they explain all the rules all out. And then on the defensive side, you really just have to just take it.
Yeah?
Yeah, you just have to take it. Can't flinch, can't step back, can't move. You have to make sure you always measure as well. And so you always have to make sure you tell the official, okay, I'm doing my right hand on 3. Yeah. Okay, they make it known to the someone that's getting slapped. Okay, he's doing right hand on a 3, and then you let loose.
What a wild sport, huh? Like, could you imagine as a kid, you're like, man, I can't believe I'm just slapping the dog shit out of people for a living. My mom would be so proud. But so it comes down to a coin toss, right?
Yeah.
So when that coin's in the air, you're like, it's pretty much like, especially at your weight, it's kind of like if you need the first hit.
Yeah, it's I mean, through the divisions, it's very hearsay, but heavyweights it's something else because you got big boys and some of these guys can throw.
Yeah.
So they'll do the coin toss 3 weeks in advance, and so you're not even near it. They have the Nevada State Commission. They'll do the coin toss, completely unbiased party. They don't know who the names are.
It's not like an on stage right now.
No.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Do you think it'd make it more intense or more anxiety?
I think both.
Yeah.
More intense, more anxiety. I mean, if it was right then and there, you're locked in. But I feel honestly, I wish it was that more so that way, because if you get that call, because they'll let you know as soon as the unbiased parties flip the coin, they see the names, they don't know who they are, flip the coin, boom, and they give you a call, say, hey Nate, you lost the coin toss. And you're
not even on the plane yet.
And you're not even on the plane. Crazy. You're sitting at the house, and then you honestly, it's I mean, I know for me, there's been times that I've lost in the coin toss, and I'll just be like, okay, all right, we're here.
That's a very, very interesting process. I wonder where the logic is behind that.
I'm trying to figure out myself too. I know that Dana, when he first started PowerSlap, he was watching guys from overseas, like in Russia and Hungary, slap each other, and they would have the podium. Instead of putting their arms behind their back, they'd have 2 handles and they'd hold it. And he was just watching how they did it, and then a lot of the Samoans, a lot of the Hawaiians, would do it. And so he's just, okay, let's bring it over to America. So I think maybe along that lines he found out that way. So I don't know. It's definitely interesting.
How are the audiences there?
Audiences are cool. When I first debuted, when you first start out, it depends where they put you in the card. Mine was a special debuting. It was the UFC 290 weigh-in show. So we had they were doing their weigh-in, and then they'd do a commercial break, and they said, okay, for the commercial break we're doing PowerSlap. And so they wanted to introduce it just to expand it more. And so the audience it was non-existent. There was nobody there. And then when I started getting on the main card, that's when a lot of people show up. You'd see Tom Brady, Theo Vaughn, Aiden Ross. You'd see a lot of these cats that are just huge, and they'd show up, and I mean, it's packed. I mean, they went from the Apex Arena, they went to the Fontainebleau, and then the one that I just did just now, they went to Etihad Arena in Dubai. So
yeah, they got a nice little connection with Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
So that's sick. How was it to have the Bills behind you when you were getting ready to do that?
That was cool. I mean, a lot of those guys I see around when I'm working, and then it was just kind of cool to be okay, you have home. There's a little bit of home there. So there was one of my matches I was able to talk to before the match, Puka Nakua and then Duncan Cade. So I was able to talk to them, and then we had Deion Dawkins show up to another one of my matches, and so. It's exciting. I mean, just seeing a little bit of Buffalo represent. That was cool.
Do you always go out dolo, kind of on your own, or you kind of got a little squad?
I normally go by myself. And every now and then, sometimes I'll bring my family. But other than that, yeah.
Yeah. Where did Buffalo Soldier come from? Did you get that yourself, or did they give it to you?
No. So you can pick your own like kit name, and so I don't know. I was listening to Bob Marley one day.
There you go.
And then it just kind of stuck. And then also too, it's like Buffalo Soldiers were in the Civil War. They were the first black militia. And their motto is "We can and we will," and so I don't know, that kind of resonated. I'm just okay. I like that. Like they were determined, and so I don't know. That just kind of stuck there, and I was kind of vibing with it.
You have a fight coming up, right?
No. So, well, technically yes. So I have one in March.
Mm-hmm.
I have one in March coming up. But the closest one that's happening right now, January 30th. They're going to Saudi Arabia, and so I have one in March. So I'm pretty excited.
Is there like a location for that one already announced?
That one, no.
Okay.
No location or anything. So
they just bring it to a new era.
I'm telling you. I was talking to a few of the folk that we should bring it to Buffalo, but they're slowly opening places up.
Yeah.
They have Hawaii open, Texas, Florida. They have obviously Saudi Arabia and Abu Dhabi, so I'm really trying to get it here in Buffalo. I think people would go crazy.
Yeah. What were like the things that you've noticed differently as far as like, your presence from doing that? Like as far as like the response you get from people like maybe you don't even know, or like social media interactions and stuff like that.
Social media, I've never been like really present on there.
Mm-hmm.
I've always been like kind of private, keep to myself kind of guy, and so then their social media team told me on the start, they just said, hey, make sure you on private your Instagram, make sure this, that, third post about it. I'm like, okay, cool. And then I was at 1,000 followers, and then now I'm at like 20,000, and I'm like, it's still crazy. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, okay. So Instagram now will just be business account only, strictly, and I don't know. It's been a lot of love. I'll be walking. I mean, even at Target, I was at Target the other day, and older gentlemen, which I was surprised because the age range I normally watches is like 20.
They're the ones that'll turn that stupid shit.
Yeah, they're on Facebook talking about it, but like an older gentleman came up to me, he's like, Buffalo Soldier? He's like, yeah, I saw you the other day. I'm like, oh, wow. And so, and then sometimes I'll be downtown and people will just joke about, hey, can you slap me? Or, I don't know. PowerSlap fans are nuts.
Have you had to like slap anybody?
I mean,
off the record?
Off the record, I mean,
like just them asking. Obviously, I'm sure somebody deserved it at some point.
For sure, definitely people have asked me. And then when it comes to my job downtown, I mean, there's been altercations where I don't engage, but I'm also defending myself, so I'm not going to punch him.
Well, this is practice.
I'm not going to punch him, so I'm like, okay, this is practice, so we'll go ahead and do that.
You just keep like a couple waivers in your back pocket for like the people like, yo, can you slap me, bro? This is the guy. I'm telling you. Here, just fill this out real quick.
That's probably what it's been. Or when I go to like Bills games and stuff, I mean, folks will recognize me, like I guess like by my hair. Mm-hmm. I don't know. Just walking around and they just say, oh, Buffalo Soldier.
Is that different to you, or do you feel like it's kind of dope?
I think it's cool. Yeah. It's definitely different. I mean, I'm not foreign to it. I felt the presence, like, when I was in college in Oklahoma. I mean, doing interviews or like post game, rebuttals and stuff. But it's exciting. I mean, I don't mind, talking to people and just letting them know about it, or if they ask or whatever, or if they want a picture, which I've had a few, which were crazy. I'm just like, okay, yeah, I'm like, that's fine. So
like obviously now you have a platform that's expanded, and you chose to do something with that, and you've been on quite a streak of using your platform to give back to people. Where does that value come from?
That really comes from my mom and dad. So my mom, she's been such a huge support in my life. So is my father. But for the times that my dad was always working and stuff like that, my mom would always find a way to, help someone else or even help us. The times that we were less fortunate, she would always I would notice the things that she felt like didn't go unnoticed or that went unnoticed. Like sometimes, like when we were growing up, me and my brother, she would give us like, you know, her portion of food, and then I would give that portion to my brother, and so it's kind of like the pay it forward thing. And so now, you know, fortunately, you know, we're grateful and blessed to be in a financial aspect that, you know, my mom and dad are taking care of my brother, my sister, and myself. And so I think that aspect of just seeing my mom just being a selfless woman as she is, that really wanted me to go and, you know, stretch that out. And then also too, when I left after high school, I had a few Division I offers to go play football, and I deferred that, and I went on a 2-year mission trip, and I went to Africa. So being in Africa for 2 years, I was, you know, spreading the good word. I was building homes, irrigation systems, churches, and being there really showed me the magnitude of humility. And so doing that, I think that's what really, you know, kind of helped push. Now, okay, I have this platform, and then I may be blowing up a little bit. Let me stay to my roots.
Mm-hmm. That's dope. So, like, what have you done so far? So I know you did the shoe thing, then you did, you know, the Thanksgiving thing, but just talk me through, like, those things.
So last year, when I first started PowerSlap last year, I was able to accomplish and work with Stevie Johnson, and we were able to do a turkey drive. And so after the turkey drive, we did a whole 7-on-7. You know, we did it at the Bills Stadium. We did a 7-on-7. People, and we invited everybody, and we were accepting donations, canned goods, whatever. And for that, with that process, after we got those donations, we were able to go ahead and go buy turkeys and give them to, you know, people around Buffalo who need it, or little turkeys and like little Thanksgiving kits, and we were able to go give them to people in Buffalo. And then following that, I had a Christmas drive that I also teamed up with him as well, and hats, gloves, coats. We were able to push that out and give that also to people in Buffalo. And then we did a whole nother thing as well with that, with toys. We were able to give that to the Women's Children's Hospital. And then following this summer, I did a shoe drive. I wanted to kind of push this one on my own, because I was always collaborating with someone. So I'm like, let me push this on my own. So I had a shoe drive. And back in the day when I was an Eagle Scout, my project was also a shoe drive. So I had an Eagle Scout project, and the goal was, I think, 150. And I was able to accomplish that. But this year, when I was able to do it, the goal was 300, but smashed that goal by 663 shoes. So I teamed up with a group called Souls for Souls, and they worked with me in the past. So their outlet is they just deliver the shoes. I do all the work, or with people. And so people are donating, and those shoes can go to people in the States, people out of the States, Nicaragua, Congo, DRC, Cameroon. And so seeing that elevate, I mean, that was huge. That's exciting. It's just, I don't know, and it's just nice to, you know, give back. It makes you feel good about yourself. And I don't know, I think it's just always something that I've strived to do. So it's been nice. That's
one thing that I value more than anything. Like, I tell people all the time, especially lately, like, being able to, you know, I won't say I lived a blessed life or live a blessed life, but the things I've been able to do with my life, I'm fulfilled, you know?
Right.
So it's like, I look at it like, how can I help somebody else?
Yeah.
Like, and the simplicity of it's crazy. Like, the things that I feel like I've taken a lot of things for granted, and the same thing, like you said, you know, you go places to where, you know, you kind of get humbled, where it's like, man, I'm complaining about the wrong things.
Yeah.
You know, and that really kind of, you know, brings you 10 toes down, and you realize, like, how good you really have it and how bad people do.
Oh, yeah. And when the time when I was in Africa, I weighed out of high school, I was like 240 pounds. And so the lowest I got to in Africa, I was 173. And so just that whole time, that really put me in a mindset. It was, wow, we take a lot of things for granted here. And especially when I came back home, there was a time when I was living with my folks, as soon as they picked me up from the airport, I'm like, wow, I see my house for the first time in 2 years. I'm like, man, we have a door, or when it was time for me to wash my clothes, I asked my mother for a bucket because I did that for 2 years. I washed them with a bucket. And so it really humbled me. And just this whole thing with PowerSlap and being able to give back to folks that need it. I've seen the domino effect through PowerSlap because there hasn't been any other PowerSlappers that do this stuff.
Do they help you or kind of give you a hand, or do they kind of want you to not market yourself?
Oh no, they give you a hand for sure. They give you a hand for sure, and like they try to push you out, but they're very more so in the fact of it's just like UFC. There's some guys that won't fight for 3 months, won't fight for 6 months, won't fight for a year, and it's when it's your time to fight, they'll market you. But when it's not, that's more so on your own to a sense. And so that's why I decided, I'm just like, you know what? I'm like, there's a time that, I didn't have a match. And so I'm just like, let me do a shoe drive. I'm like, I think that would be cool. And it wasn't at all for a marketing ploy or anything, but it was just for like, this is something cool. And I've seen the domino effect with other power slappers now doing things and giving back to the community and their respective communities. And that was wholesome to me. I mean, being able to see, I'm like, wow. I'm like, okay, cool.
Yeah, see, we got to connect on things. I know we talked very briefly, but like I do something for Christmas where, I do like a 12 days of Christmas, and I'll raffle like items off to raise money. Like before COVID, we raised $3,500.
Nice.
And I have family who works like with like kids, not necessarily with like developmental differences, but like people who don't have a good home and just rocky home life, more in a sense. So like we got to take care of two families. One family, they got displaced because of COVID, so they got kicked out of the house. They were living at the motel out in Hamburg, and there's 8 of them inside of a motel room. Yeah. And I'm dressed as Santa Claus. Like I don't know these kids, but like in advance I had them write a letter to Santa, so like when I get them stuff, at least they get what they want instead of just like throwing Johnny a pair of sweatpants. Right. So like like you read it and you're just like you hear about it, but like once you're in there, like I'm dressed as Santa, bro. I go in this motel. And the thing that was the coolest part about it, right? I'm talking like a motel, like toasters on the sink. Like there's 2 dogs, 3 kids, mom, dad, like, and it's just nuts. And I get in there and they're still decorated for Christmas. Man. That was the craziest thing to me. I'm like, because you have every reason to just be like, fuck it, dude. Like, and I'm just sitting there and like the one kid, he liked Pikachu. So I got him this $20 stuffed animal because I only wanted to give them like 3 gifts as Santa, and then I wanted to come back later the night and give Dad all the presents so like he can have something to give to the kids. So like, dude, I give this kid the Pikachu, starts crying, and in my head I'm like, bro, it's a $20 stuffed animal. Yeah. And I'm just like, this kid just acts like I gave him $1,000. Yeah. And I'm just like, here I am like bitching because it's raining outside, and I'm just like, that was like probably top 2 moment of my entire life. Yeah. Just the impact I got from like giving that kid that stuffed animal is like I tell people too, because I work with kids with developmental differences, and it's like there's nothing that will like bring you joy and like value to like the life that you have than doing that. Oh yeah. Like just working with those kids, they're always happy, and it's just like, man, we are literally so miserable and stuck in our ways. Yep. Like I feel like everybody needs to give back in some way at their life just to understand how that feels.
No, that's real. I appreciate you sharing that with me. That's like I don't know. There's always something with just seeing the reactions. Like that's what makes it for me. Like with the Pikachu, I'm like, dude, like just seeing the reactions on their face, it's just it's inspiring, to be honest, just to see like for us, like we may, like I know in my time, my life, sometimes, I definitely have times taking things for granted. And then when I came back from Africa, okay, I take things for granted, and then I get back to the old fashion because I'm no longer over there. Okay, oh man, I wish I had this. I wish I had this.
Mm-hmm.
And then I don't know. It's just something about just giving back or just being able to like help others.
Yeah, exactly.
Like just be a good person.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? It's like that. That's what matters. Like my dad has always instilled in me too, as my mother has been such a role model for me. My father has always been a role model for me in the sense of making sure, like, morally, you're solid. Like, always following the golden standard, the golden rule,
Mm-hmm.
do a good turn daily.
Mm-hmm.
Or, treat others as you would want to be treated. And so, like, it's that aspect. I don't know. It's just, you don't have to be, nice to everyone, but you can try to find and look for ways of service to help others.
Is there do you have like a quote that like you just live by? Like one that really is just like 100% all the time? Hey Google.
I'd say the real cliche one that I have on my phone too right here. God is good. And it's true.
Mm-hmm.
God is good. God is good all the time. And it may not be, and you may be praying for something, praying for health or praying for, longevity, money, or things like that. And I've realized in my life there's been times that, like in high school, freshman year, I knew I've always been a good football player. I've always been good. Freshman year, I balled out. Sophomore year, broke my collarbone. Junior year, I tore my ACL. And so, like, those times of trials and tribulations, that was really a lot for me, to handle at like such a young age. And then when I was in Africa, there would be times and go days without food, just because the conditions that we were in, couldn't get food, or there was 2 times I got malaria over there. I was over there during war, and so that was things like that is just like, it makes you really, really lean on to something. You have to, whether it's a higher power, whether it's family. For me, it's definitely a higher power. I've always believed in God, and I know that Jesus Christ is my Savior, and so I think that quote is it. God is good. The times may be bad right now, but God is always good.
Mm-hmm.
And so you may be praying for something that may not happen right then and there, but as you pray, God does answer prayers. You may, along the lines, see something that see something that reminds you of the prayer, or maybe there's a little sprinkle or a little hint of something that can help you along your path. That I've always felt has resonated in me. So I'd say that is my quote.
So climbing your ladder, as far as like, building your platform and having the platform to be able to do the things you've been able to do, is there like something that you have in mind that you want to do? Like, what is like the ultimate, like, man, I finally, feel like I've done what I wanted to do as far as like giving back?
As far as giving back wise, I don't know. I think I have a notebook in my journal, like, of different ideas or events that I want to do. But I think more so than not, just like with giving back, is like giving back to those who gave to me, but also while giving to others.
Mm-hmm.
And so I have a few events and a few things that I've planned that as soon as I accomplish those, I'll feel pretty sound. I'm keeping it locked and bolted because
You have to.
they're pretty solid ideas, But those 3 things, as soon as I do those, I feel good.
Hell yeah. You want to give a message to the people?
Be yourself. Be honest. Do a good turn daily. And whatever you do believe in, whatever higher power, whatever thing, whatever, stay on to that. Stay true. But don't lose faith. You know, not all of us are perfect, but striving for perfection is the goal. But you also have to know we'll never get there. It's okay to have setbacks and trials and tribulations. Control what you can control.
Control the controllables.
That's right.
You want to plug in your socials where they can find you?
Yeah, you can follow me at Nate_Burnard on Instagram. Let's see, N, the letter 8, or the number 8, sorry, and then __91 on Twitter, and then that's all I got.
Well, stay tuned. You'll see him smack that out of somebody very soon. Appreciate you coming by, brother.
I appreciate you, truly.
As always, like, subscribe.
Definitely subscribe. Follow ASAP. Plug in with Croom. Have to.
Peace.
I can't take no loss. I don't need no